You are watching Germantown Municipal Television, your source for everything Germantown.
Hello and welcome to Law Talk on Germantown Municipal Television. My name is Vince Perryman and I'm a local attorney with the law offices of J. Vincent Perryman. Each month, Law Talk focuses on a wide range of legal issues and topics. Today's show will talk about social media and divorce. With us now is attorney Bill Jones of the Jones Law Firm. Bill, thanks for being with us again. And
great to be back.
I know this is always a big topic in divorce, what people are doing and putting out there, and sort of it can create a quagmire of items in social media.
Well, it's an ongoing topic, I think, because the law as we know it, even the law that we were taught back in law school, it's not good law today, some of it. And it's because technology evolves and changes so rapidly and so quickly, the law continually struggles to keep up with it. We just have so many changes. When I went through law school, it was the exception, not the norm, to have a cell phone. Mm-hmm. And now our lives rotate around them. You hardly ever see somebody without a cell phone. And there's so many apps and so many ways that we can see what our spouses are doing. So I guess first what I want to do is give some basic guidelines so people don't get in trouble. Mm-hmm. Just like in your practice area, I'm certain you've had people come in with what they think is great evidence or great testimony, and they've gone about obtaining it the wrong way. They've seen too many movies, and they've gone out and tried to do something the wrong way. Mm-hmm. So I guess the first general rule is that here in Tennessee, you're not allowed to record a conversation, a telephone call, unless you're a party to it. What that means is I can't take a phone and hit my little record button and set it down and walk out of the room and hear what you and the producers or however really think of me and come back and check it. I have to be a party to that conversation in order to record it. If I'm a party to that conversation, then certainly I can record it. And that would be good testimony that we could use in court. The other thing I can't do is I can't break into your telephone. Now the phones all have thumb locks that trigger it to unlock, or you've got a complicated code that you punch in. I cannot look over your shoulder, see the code that you're entering, and later that night break into your phone and go into it without breaking the law. Mm-hmm. Because you've got, even in your own home, you would have an expectation of privacy in that. So kind of what we do is we use some general litmus tests to figure out whether or not a computer or phone, whatever, you would have access to it. So some of the things we look for, some of the questions that we would ask in order to get into that phone or that computer would be, is this a device that you've regularly used? Mm-hmm. I mean, I know from my own life, I'll be driving down the road and I'll get a phone call or a text, and I'll hand the phone to my wife. And she says, "What's your code?" And I'll tell it to her. And in fact, we've done it so often that I've given her a thumbprint button on my phone. Mm-hmm. So if something were to ever happen with my wife and she could say, "This is a device that I regularly use and I'm expected to have access to." And then she could go through it all she wanted. And if a divorce scenario were to arise. Whereas if I called her and said, "Hey, can you check my email?" and gave her the password, again, I've given her access. Mm-hmm. If I then go in and change those passwords and I don't tell her that, well, then she no longer has access to those. I've recovered an expectation of privacy, and she just can't go in there and get things that we could later use at a trial for evidence.
What if the bill's in her name?
It does not matter if the bill's in her name. That's the big thing we always get. Well, they're my phones and I pay for them. Well, they are. But you've given them as gifts to this individual and said, "Here, Here's your phone. Use it. And it doesn't matter. Now, if you pay the bill and you can review the logs and see these phone calls were going out at this time, you're texting this individual 20 times a day, and they stop the weekend that I'm out of town, I'm going to assume that lapse of texting each other is because they're together, or they're in the same room and they don't need to text anymore. So certainly being able to view the records and the bills is helpful. But because of how we access it now, one of the things I tell my clients, if your spouse has a phone that they constantly keep locked, that you're not allowed access to, if every time they go to take a shower, the phone's in there with them in the bathroom locked, if it's on their side of the bed locked, you've got trust issues. And there might be something worth looking into there. That's one of the telltale signs that you can really look for if somebody guards their phone and does not want you on it. One of the easiest and most proper ways to get it all would be to bring the device to court, ask a judge to allow us to go in and to clone it, to make a copy of it, to look through the history of it, to print screenshots. And in doing that, sometimes we actually get text messages and images that have been deleted intentionally. I know you know Ted Scott from Verity Investigations.
Very good.
Ted's he's who we use. He's a genius at going through these phones and finding things that individuals think they've deleted, that they think are just no longer there. But in a digital age, it's always there. It's impossible to get rid of. And you've just got to have the right tools and the right resources to find it. And once you find it and properly get it, we can use it in court. The danger here is if you try and be Dick Tracy on your own and don't know to look for these things, don't know these rules, then what you think could be the key to your case is going to be information that could actually harm you, possibly put you in criminal prosecution, and we're not going to be able to use them in court. So it's important to either understand them or have an attorney that does.
Right. And I think, with all this, there's, we'll get into this further because we're probably running out of time with this segment, but we've got other things now in the estate planning world on social media where they will allow you to have power of attorneys attached to it, which may change a little bit of the ownership of these things.
Law keeping up with technology, again.
Yeah, and it is interesting to me as to how much data now that I've seen in cases that is coming from, oh, well, this is where we had a chat window open, or things like this. And it's all about how do you authenticate it, how do you know for a fact that was both of the people. I mean, it's pretty detailed in that, and making sure that you're able to have someone that can educate the judge. But we'll talk more about this when we return on our discussion with social media and divorce. Please stay with us.
I'm Germantown Mayor Mike Palazzolo.
And I'm Germantown City Administrator Patrick Lawton. The results of our 2015 community survey are in, and we are happy to share them with you.
99% of survey respondents rated Germantown as an excellent or good place to live.
Satisfaction with city services, including police, fire, emergency medical, public works, and parks, were also included in the survey.
We invite you to check out a complete copy of the survey on our website at germantown-tn.gov/2015 survey.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
are watching Germantown Municipal Television, your source for everything Germantown.
Welcome back. I'm Vince Perryman, and you're watching Law Talk. Joining us on our show is attorney Bill Jones of the Jones Law Firm, and we're discussing social media and divorce. Bill, before the break, we had talked about cloning cell phones and things like that. Now, with things like Facebook and other social media sites, how does that work in the divorce process?
Well, so it's a nice segue from the phones, because generally everybody has a Facebook app on their phone, or a Facebook Messenger app. You know, I've got a 7-year-old and a 17-year-old at home, and we're the first generation that really gets to have a digital conversation with our kids and try and make them understand. It used to be the big thing. The big thing with my father was don't get a tattoo, they're permanent, they're always going to follow you. Well, that's no longer the most permanent thing for somebody. Now it's your digital life. It's whatever you've posted on Facebook. It is like a tattoo, and it is going to follow you for the rest of your life. I recently interviewed a young lady for a position at our firm, and one of the first things we did before we even brought her into the office was we started looking at some of her Facebook history, and we just saw that she liked to go out and party a little too much. Colleges, I think, are looking for these things. So no matter how tightly you think you've got your Facebook locked down or impenetrable, people can always see or find a way to see what's there. The old game that we used to play, was it the 7 shades of separations?
Or 5 degrees Kevin Bacon.
5 degrees of Kevin Bacon, that's what I was thinking of. It's the same thing. If I lock down my account and make it where I think nobody can see it, for you to find out what's going on in my life, all you've got to do is figure out friends that we've got in common, or look throughout your network for somebody that we've got in common, or somebody that they've got in common. And this is what so often happens in a divorce setting. Where somebody thinks that they've locked it down, they've made it private, they've triggered their post where no one can see it, but somewhere along the line, you friended your third cousin, and your third cousin is actually better friends with your spouse because they went to college together. And so you deleted mom, you deleted your mother-in-law, your father-in-law, your brother-in-law, but you forgot about that third cousin. And it's just a matter of getting that third cousin to go in and print out everything, and we've got it. So actually just not posting or being careful just isn't enough. We tell people not to post. As you know, when certain cases start, you have a duty to preserve evidence. We've all seen the movies and the television series where people go in the offices and shred documents because they think they're getting sued. Well, it's the same thing in a divorce situation. You can't go and start deleting the bad things that you've done, or the bad things that you've said, or even the questionable things that you just are embarrassed about. If you start destroying evidence, then you've put yourself in a position where the court can sanction you. They can dismiss your case, or they can draw a negative inference from the lack of evidence that's there. So what I mean by that is basically everything I say the court would accept, because they're going to draw the inference I say because you've deleted stuff. One of the first documents that's issued in a divorce setting is a mutual mandatory injunction. And that's an injunction that prohibits both parties from doing certain things. And one of the things it prohibits is each party from destroying discoverable information. So that would be wiping your phone. The big wiping your phone joke that we always get is somebody dropped it in the toilet or in the bathtub and it wiped the phone. It is amazing how many people go through a divorce and their phones fall in a bathtub or water. But the point is, it's still there. What we recommend to our clients, there's 2 features that Facebook has. One is you can deactivate your account. And if you deactivate your account, it doesn't destroy the information. It's still there. You would click the button that says log out or shut down or suspend, and it says, do you really want to delete your Facebook account? We can just suspend it instead. And so you click the yes. And then there's another, by doing that, people can't access your page. It's as if it's wiped, but it's still preserved. So you don't lose all the photos of you and the kids or whatever. It's all still there. It's just a matter of logging back in and reactivating it so you can have it again. The easiest way, though, once you've deactivated it, and what you should do with your attorney, there's a button that allows you to create a PDF file of your entire history. And it's basically like a backup. I think it's designed so that you don't lose all your photos, so you don't lose all your history. But you can create a PDF file that will be everything you've ever done, every chat message, every like, everything that you've ever clicked on. And that's really the field of gold in my industry. That's one of the first things that we get folks to do, is to send us that PDF and temporarily suspend their Facebook. We don't want to tell people to destroy the content. We want to tell them to suspend it and to give us that PDF so we can look through it. Then we want to get a PDF of their spouses. And once we do that, there's some certain things that we can key in for and really look for. This type of information just isn't on Facebook. You know, you can name an app, they're all there. Twitter, Instagram.
You got Google's got something, circles or...
Yeah, and the thing that we're working to keep up with now are the Snapchats, and Duster is the new one that just came into my office the other day. And then you got the dating sites. Most of these things, people just try and create separate accounts, separate email accounts, and they think they're being slick, and they really kind of underestimate how slick you and I can be.
Right.
In our spare time.
Well, and if you're texting somebody that you don't want it read, the app to use is actually Wickr, W-I-C-K-R, because it's got encryptions that even the U.S. government has problems with, and you
For
set
now.
it. Yeah, for now. But the whole thing is you got to stay on top of this with the tech industry and everything. But we'll talk more about that when we come back from our break. When Bill and I talk more about social media and divorce. Please stay with us.
Hey, Hard, what's this?
That's my resignation letter.
You're resigning. Why?
Because you're constantly ignoring me. You're half as active as you used to be, and you get stuff like this.
You've been putting me under a lot of pressure lately.
That's why I'm ready to quit.
I forgot. I'll do better. Please.
Don't quit on me. Okay. But remember, it's not what you say, it's what you do.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you.
Let's go for a walk.
Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
Looks like it's done.
Don't let salmonella get funky with your chicken. On average, 1 in 6 Americans will get a foodborne illness this year. You can't see these microbes, but they might be there. So learn the right temperature to cook each type of meat. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov.
You are watching Germantown Municipal Television, your source for everything Germantown.
Welcome back. With us now is attorney Bill Jones with the Jones Law Firm. We are talking about social media and divorce. Bill, before the break, we had talked about, well, we've covered cell phones, we've covered social media sites, we were talking about some of the various social media sites. And I know in my estate planning practice, I have to now talk about, hey, you need to set your passwords for things with your will so people can get into them. Facebook and some of the other social medias have a power of attorney form that you can fill out digitally that says, if I die, this person has control of my account, so that way someone can get in.
So you can go in and like turn it into a memorial account or just shut it down.
Right,
Yeah.
and then Yahoo and Gmail, they have things in there that I think on their memorandum of understanding, when you accepted those terms, that it terminates upon your death potentially, things like that. So in the ever-changing world and with divorce and social media, what is it that you're looking for in all of this stuff?
You know, probably what the public thinks and what we think are actually a little different. Most people think this is how you catch a cheating spouse. And you can. Certainly, I saw a recent statistic that said folks that are on social media are 37% more likely to have an affair on their spouse. And some of that is because we've made it so easy to privately interact with lost loves from our past, from new people that we share interest with. So certainly that's one of the things that it can key us off to. Like what we were talking about a minute ago, getting those PDF records and combing through them, looking for all the text messages, or all the messengers that have gone back and forth. If you've there's a statistic that we actually look at in new relationships, how quickly and the number of likes that you do on this one person compared to how many likes. We look at a percentage. You like 90% of his posts and 10% of your husband's posts. What's going on? So certainly you can catch someone in an adulterous relationship on one of these apps. That's only one of the facets, though. That's just top of the mind that we're looking for there. We dig a little bit deeper. There are events, so we can look at events and see this is where this person was. No, you can't have visitation with our daughter this weekend because I've got to be. I'm taking her to her friend's birthday party. And then we see under the event schedule that Mom actually was in Gatlinburg with her boyfriend, and it was the grandparents that had the child that weekend. So the events tab is very helpful to us to let us know where people are. For example, if you said, no, I can't pay alimony, I don't work, and I've hurt my back and it's hard for me to do something, and then I see that you've signed up for 3 5K sprints or a skiing trip, that's going to be a telltale sign. One of the nice things is people dress up in your pictures. In your pictures, you dress up, you put your nicest stuff on, and it's easy for somebody in a divorce room, in a courtroom, to cry poor. But when you start looking through their Facebook history, and you see, okay, that watch that you've got on in this picture, that looks like a gold Rolex. And in this picture, that looks like a silver Rolex. And that drop diamond pendant has 2 diamonds, and the one you've got on right now has 4. So how many of these do you have? How poor are you really? The motorcycle that you sold to your brother-in-law, or that you didn't list, we've got 10 pictures of you with it. So those things certainly help us to determine assets, to determine ability to pay. And then the other thing we can look for is what type of lifestyle are you living? Are you the person that you say you are to this judge in a courtroom? One of the things I tell my clients, I'm certain that the little schoolgirl uniform that you wore at Halloween was cute and all your friends loved it. But we are going to get crucified when you go into a courtroom trying to look like Mom of the Year, and then they pull up those images from you going crazy, dressed scandalous at this Halloween event. So those are some of the things that we are looking at.
Yeah, and I think what's important is because it's a piece of discovery.
That's right.
And I always think of it, because having been law enforcement, I come from that background where it's, if I want to make a stop, I've got to have reasonable suspicion that it's going to lead to probable cause. So with this, what we're doing is we're stacking it up, all these little items, point to us to look at something else to put on that stack that makes it more likely than not that
That's
this
right.
is actually occurring. Because as you talk about somebody's lifestyle, I think of cases where you've got a mother saying, oh, I'm poor, I don't make any money, where historically they've made $130,000 a year for the past 10 years. And then you look at the financials and they're like, oh, okay, they're taking...
We look back and we say, oh, you went to Europe and you went skiing in Vail.
Yeah.
How are you poor and how are you
Or
doing
you're going
this?
to Pavo and getting a $300 monthly haircut. You know,
These are the things we're looking at.
Yeah.
The other thing, quickly, just a couple of war stories that have made me do the research on these things to help my clients, because early on, again, we didn't know how to treat some of this. I had a client who posted on his Facebook page, "I've got court today, finally, after so many years. Today's my day." And I don't care what that judge says, he's a blank, 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 blank idiot. And whatever happens, I will get my kids. And our case is going great. Put them on the stand, start asking them questions. We're looking good. And then on cross, that picture comes up. The picture of that screenshot where my client, who just came off sounding great, says this judge is words that a sailor doesn't use. And the case did not go well for us from that point forward. I had another case where a client indicated that they were sober and there was nothing to impede them from having time with their kid. Their Facebook post had pictures of them surrounded in beer bottles, one of them drinking and driving. So again, it's not only important for us to look at your former spouse or whoever our opponent is, it's pretty important for us to take a strong, hard look at yours. So before you probably come in and see an attorney, you need to take a long, hard look at your own profiles, at the own things that you're signed up for, and ask yourself, how is this going to play out in a courtroom? How can this hurt me?
Right, and that's actually our time's up for this edition of Law Talk. I'd like to thank our guest for taking time out of his busy schedule and being with us and sharing his thoughts and insights, and pointing out to us that social media is very important if you don't want to torpedo your case before it begins. And if you'd like more information about Law Talk or any other program on Germantown Municipal Television, please refer to our website at www.gmtvonline.org. Thank you for joining us today, and be sure to join us next month for more discussions on legal topics. Until then, I'm Vince Perryman, and thank you for watching.